As I am currently sitting in the midst of a heat advisory up until Friday morning at 11 a.m., I am recording this at Wednesday, 1:55 p.m. I'm trying to make things as cool as possible in this office by sitting with no light on. And if I could, I'd even sit with no shirt on. But I don't think that's what the public needs to see on YouTube. But it also reminds me that even though summer is winding down, you can still feel the heat in upstate New York. And if you want to try to stay cool for the remainder of that summer, you need to talk to our friends over at Johnstone Supply in Troy. Yeah. You just got to talk to them about their high efficiency central AC systems and ductless mini splits, including Goodman, Fujitsu, and Westinghouse, all in stock and at great prices. And if you need someone to install that new system, that's fine because Johnstone Supply can do that as well. Get talked to George, who's been on previous episodes of our friend Getting There with Gaz, and had a chance to learn about his story and the history of Johnstone Supply. Well, now you can stop in and find out about their great service and products by talking to Kev, James, or Bird. They'll be willing to listen to you, whether you go in the store at 2600 6th Avenue in Troy, or you just give them a call at 518-272-5922 so they can make sure you have a cool place to sit for the remainder of the summer. Get a new AC system today by calling 518-272-5922, visiting the store 2600 6th Avenue in Troy, or visit them at johnstonesupply.com. That being said, it's episode 61 of White Heat. A little delayed from usual because I had things, JJ had things, you had things, and you had things, and you had things. Very Oprah-like last few days for us, but hey, fuck it. We're here. It is what it is. And we got a lot of stuff to cover. A lot of good, a lot of shit. That being said, Mr. Alexander, how are you this fine Wednesday early afternoon in the Northeast?
It's been a couple of weeks. Still dealing with the amount of paint from this cage on my leg, but I'm getting through it. And thank God for central air.
All right, I'll sum up your last few days from the sounds of it. You're
Yeah, a
sorry.
little bit.
Oh, inside story, not gonna be worth talking about on the show. But anyways, um, we got a lot of stuff to get into, so we're gonna jump right into it. What I'm gonna do real quick is just give a synopsis of anything that was relevant at all from last week's TV. That was the go home episodes for SummerSlam, and that will feed into um, this past Monday's Raw, and then we'll jump into NXT at large and what happened there the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, beginning with Raw from last week, which was July the 25th. Um, Logan Paul and Miz was a theme and a couple different parts of the show. They opened watch by seeing them brawling in the ring.
Yeah, they opened hot. Like,
Hot, hot.
yeah.
And then they eventually come back to that later at the top of the third hour with Logan Paul doing his Miz TV impression. Um, and yeah, then a lot of bloodline and theory stuff, eventually
Mm-hmm.
leading to the 6-man tag at the end of the night, which had bloodline beating Riddle and the Prophets.
Hey,
And
look,
then
Roman in a 6-man tag on free TV, but Roman's only a part timer now.
right, exactly. Um, and then we also end up getting that's where that's what leads to the end of the show where Seth stomps Riddle onto the steps. He lands at an awkward angle, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, they really pretty much filled the first hour with Drew, Theory, Lashley, and the Brawling Brutes is basically what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
We finally got a contender for Clash of the Castle.
yep, yep. Um, get to that in a second. The Ray 20 years stuff.
Mm-hmm.
With Ray and Dom beating Judgment Day in a tag match,
With Rhea just kicking the shit out of Dominic.
but then fucking backstage, the Mysterios are celebrating. Uh, Rhea pie faces Aaliyah, grabs Dom by the back of the hair like she's his mama, and
Mhm.
drags him out into the fucking hallway. Judgment Day jumps to Mysterio's, and then next segment, Rhea comes back and kicks Ray right in the fucking mouth, which
Yes.
was fantastic.
Wonderful.
Um, is there anything else really that set up SummerSlam at all from that Raw?
Not really. I mean, it flowed decently. For a
Yeah.
go home show, there wasn't anything really disappointing on it,
Mm-hmm.
which is a first in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only other thing really was Bianca and Becky with their go home promo for the night. That was
Yeah.
really it.
Yeah.
SmackDown, as you mentioned, we got our number one contender name for Clash of the Castle, which we've been predicting for months because
It's
it just seemed
Cardiff.
like the obvious choice. And
Yeah.
yes, it's Cardiff. It was Drew McIntyre beating the representative from the Ivory Coast, Mr.
I
Sheamus.
was gonna say.
You know, let me just say this. I'm not blaming Sheamus or Drew on this. This has to be whatever tech hands.
It's ring crew, dude.
Uh, this is just common sense. Though. It's not even a ring crew thing. It's common sense to know that when you look at a flag, whatever side has the extra white border with
Right.
the holes for like grommets and stuff, that's the left side of the flag.
Well, I think the issue was the flags that they had didn't have the side grommets. They were just the loose
Oh no,
holding
there was a
ones.
few that had the grommets on the
Oh, there
side.
were?
Oh
Okay, then
yeah,
yeah, never mind.
that's the only reason I even said it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said shit. But
My bad.
there were. I don't know if all of them had the grommets on the side, but I know there was at least a few that I could see clear as day that had the grommets on the side. And I'm just like forever face palming the entire half hour.
But none of them had Wallace's.
No, no, not at all. I'm glad I was able to pick up that reference as quick as I did. Um, so Drew beats Sheamus, becomes number one contender to kick off the show. But then Theory jumps him because Theory.
Yep.
Um, Corbin and McAfee have an exchange where Corbin low blows McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
They have Liv and Ronda in a tag team match.
Which they had Ronda come out and cut a heel promo before Liv comes out. And then they're like, oh no, it's them tagging. And I'm like, you just let the cat out of the bag as to what's going to happen tomorrow.
And they got along.
Right.
Like there was points where Liv refused to tag in because she was trying to prove a point, but at the same time, her and Ronda still got along to get through the match.
Right.
So what's the point of her cutting the heel promo at that point?
Right.
Stupid. Jay super kicks Jeff Jarrett in the middle of a brawl with the Profits. So much for Max Dupree being gone.
Dude.
Fucking
I was dying.
One week people were talking about how he's gone because Sophia Cromwell comes in as Maxine Dupree.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week they're doing the fucking beachwear stuff, and there's Max Dupree right at the end jumping in. It's like, sure,
good
okay.
old fucking Sean Ross Sapp fucking up again.
That or just Hunter saying, you know what? I don't know what was going on with you and Vince, but fuck all.
Well, no, like you can obviously see, like they brought in Sophia Cromwell to do the Maxine character because it makes more sense for her to be delivering some of the lines and the verbiage about them being titillating and blah 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 blah. Like coming from a woman's voice, it just makes it flow. And then to have Max as like the Charlie to the Angels makes way more sense.
Right. Because I'm sure Maxine is titillating a lot of senses for some people out there. That being said, so I have a question.
Yes,
that had nothing to do with SummerSlam because they weren't on the card, but I'm going to bring it up anyways.
Okay.
Are we doing anything with the Viking Raiders?
Well, yeah, they just So they got him. They had him working that program with the New Day just to get him back in the swing of things, and I'm sure there's going to be something to come of it now. They just, it's weird how they've been doing it, and I think it's a Vince era thing that they were just finishing out. But it seemed like a bunch of like the smaller feuds would culminate on the Raw or the SmackDown right before the pay-per-view instead of on the pay-per-view.
Right.
And I think that's liable to change now.
Yeah, because I feel like them beating New Day didn't do a whole like. I don't think it really did a whole lot.
I mean,
I
it
guess
gives
they
them
finally
some
had a match,
clout.
but I don't feel like it really did much to. Like to me, that just seems a very flat conclusion, if that makes sense. If it's
Yeah,
a
I
conclusion.
get what you mean. Especially because, like, obviously the whole thing is you want to lead towards this tag team obviously getting back to the top of the ranks, but you've still got a heel tag team holding the tag belts. So how do you go about that?
Yeah, it's just I don't know. The other part of it being if you're trying to set up the Raiders for success and get into the picture, it doesn't help that the Usos are holding the belts right now.
Right, exactly.
Like I don't really see how that works very well
Mm-hmm.
for either side, honestly.
Right.
But all right, let's get right into SummerSlam, Nissan Stadium, Nashville, Tennessee, and we kick off with Bianca and Becky.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Solid match. Props on Becky for getting through with a separated shoulder, pretty much the
Right.
entirety of the match.
Right. That's what gave me, like, after finding that out afterwards, a couple days later, like, damn, like, more props to her because it's a hell of a match.
Mm-hmm. They actually ends up shaking hands at the end, and then Becky gets out, gives Bianca her moment,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gets interrupted by a return that everyone has been calling for months,
Mm-hmm.
and then some interesting side dishes to it as well.
Uh-huh.
So Bailey returns initially
Mm-hmm.
and comes down to like that turn point in the entranceway towards the ring
Yep.
and starts just yelling random shit at Bianca and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say the most surprising, yeah, I could. Well, I don't know about moment of the whole night, but I'd say I'd say top 2 or 3
All
was
right.
Dakota Kai's music hitting,
Yeah.
because Dakota Kai has been not just to WWE, but really to social media and anything wrestling related in general since being released
Right.
back when. She's essentially been persona non grata, like non-existent
Yeah.
to the world in general,
Mm-hmm.
except for her Twitch streams when she's gaming. That's really it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, here's Dakota Kai waltzing down the ramp in front of almost 50,000 people in Nashville for SummerSlam. It's like,
And she's not split personality Dakota, and she's a heel again, and she's got a freshened up look.
right. It's the original version of Dakota that we had pre Raquel Gonzalez
Right.
from NXT. If you don't get that reference, don't be a fucking
It's
idiot. Go back and watch it.
non-Pritchard Dakota Kai.
Essentially. And then we get another person
Mm-hmm.
in Io Shirai.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of 50-50 on the name change to Io Sky. It works. I'm like, it's something that has to grow on me, but whatever. But Io shows up,
Mm-hmm.
and yet again, goblins are proved wrong.
Right.
Oh, she's leaving. She's not. She doesn't want to be there. Blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, she's showing up at SummerSlam.
Right. Like, I could see how she was probably on the fence about it, because she wasn't being used by Pritchard. And so I could definitely
Which
see
fucking
Trips
idiot.
being like, I could definitely see Trips being like, listen, it's your, like, because she should have been up on the main roster a while ago. She's one of those that was in NXT for way too long, and it was due time. So good on Trips for being like, listen, it's time. Let's keep you here. But it's just funny how everyone, Meltzer and Sapp and all them are like, she's already got 1 foot out the door, blah, 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 blah. And then boom. Nope.
Um, I can I just
I
ask?
also I also
This,
felt really bad because I didn't realize you weren't watching it live when I was messaging you.
yeah, because sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just dealing with something with the wife real quick.
No problem. No problem.
But like, yeah. So here's the background story. So, um, the baseball team I do PA announcing for, the summer college baseball team I do PA announcing for,
Mm-hmm.
their last regular season game was this past Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And I already knew ahead of time. I knew basically about a week before that the first playoff game they were going to host was going to be the night of SummerSlam.
Ah,
So while I could have used my phone to stream it and watch it while I was doing it,
kind of got to pay attention to what you're there
yeah,
for.
baseball's kind of a fluid sport that I need to pay attention to. Like, if it was football, I could have got away with it potentially. If it was soccer, I definitely could have got away with it. Um, Baseball or basketball, not so much. So yeah, so I didn't end up watching SummerSlam till it was either Sunday or I think it was Monday morning. I actually watched it. So yeah, that's the background there. But anyway, so those three eventually get in the ring. They confront Bianca. Then Becky slides back into the ring. So the three back off. They end up going away.
We
So
got
now
baby face Bex.
right. We're setting up big time baby face backs, which we'll obviously address a little bit when we get to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, I thought very solid match. Very. I feel like every debut of a stable doesn't have to be an attack.
Yeah.
So I feel like doing it this way, especially on the stage it was at, was a very effective way of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they end up doing then 2 nights later on Raw was also extremely effective in helping build them as a group. But we'll get to that later. Next we got Miz and Logan Paul. Miz comes to the ring with Maurice and Ciampa. Logan comes down with nobody. Eventually, AJ Styles evens up the odds to take out Ciampa from ringside. Right when it seemed like Ciampa was going to be tossed from ringside anyway, but in fact, he might have been tossed already, and then Styles just helped escort him away. I don't remember.
Well, it's because the ref was telling Ciampa to get out, and then Ciampa grabs the chair and goes, "No, make me," and sits down in the chair.
Right.
And that's when AJ pops out of.
That's okay. So I thought I was right. And
it was smart to have AJ come from the blind side of the camera rather than because they hit his music, and that's a long ass way to come down for a run.
Yeah. That was very effective.
Yeah.
We eventually get Logan Paul doing a frog splash through a table on Miz.
And what's when I said they don't need Shane McMahon for shit anymore.
True. And then we get Logan Paul end up winning by hitting Miz with a skull crushing finale. All in all, I mean, what's intriguing is that because I don't follow Logan Paul on any social media, but when I go through TikTok, some of his podcast clips come up in my feed.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing, because a lot of the stuff from this past weekend was obviously SummerSlam related. And one of the clips I remember seeing was him basically saying, I think I finally found my thing, essentially. Now, obviously, there's still parts of him as an entertainer that are very green.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the physical talent and what he's able to do so far,
yep.
And he already has a natural charisma to him. It just needs to be the verbalizing of the charisma needs to be worked on.
And he has the build that,
yeah. And he's already in great shape. Like, you don't have to worry about that.
And I put it forward to people like I find it hilarious that Logan Paul comes in and is able to just do one or two big spots, really has a sound match, and looks great. And people are like, I don't give a fuck, blah, blah, blah. But Bad Bunny can do a goddamn Canadian Destroyer, and everyone thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I think part of that has to do with some people not having a whole lot of patience, not patience, but oh, I think there's just some people out there that Logan Paul just naturally rubs the wrong way, and that's why they get that kind of reaction. But no, I get what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
can't have your cake and eat it too, kind of thing.
Right.
Um, yeah, I'd say another solid match. Um, I think this also goes to show because I feel like we have to give credit where credit is due. Because you mentioned Logan Paul and Bad Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
In three of his higher profile matches the last 18 months, The Miz has done a hell of a fucking job working with non wrestlers.
Exactly.
So
The
I
Miz
think,
has filled the spot that Big Show used to have.
but in a much more effective and entertaining way.
Exactly.
No offense to Paul, but
Right.
I mean, him and Floyd was really the only one that was halfway entertaining out of all of them. Let's be real.
I wasn't even entertained by that.
Well, I'm just saying halfway.
I was
Halfway.
more entertained by him and Akabono.
You would be. You fucking would be.
That
Then we move on to speaking of maximum male models, the Pure Life water promo.
was great.
Jesus fuck. That was interesting.
I just thought it was funny that they got the maximum male models hawking the low end Nestle spring water. Like, I just remember like back, like, cause Pure Life is like a step below Poland Spring. Cause I remember back at like a store that I used to run, I actually I got a water cooler in the office, and I looked at like there were different things. There were different like tiers of water that you could buy, and Nestle Pure Life was the lowest tier. So that's what I always bought. Cause I'm like, it's fucking water.
Yeah, like Poland Spring was like $1.19. Pure Life was like 89 cents or some shit like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But it's been repackaged, it's rebranded, and had to do something other than the Sasha Banks and Big E commercial that ran for so long. So yeah. Um Then we get the US title match. Lashley retains over Theory.
I wasn't a
Was
fan.
was what it was, really. Nothing. If you
It was a
expected any,
basic match.
if you expect anything above a basic match, then you're crazy. It was what it was. That's all I really have to that.
Yeah.
Then we got the no DQ tag match: Mysterios against Judgment Day. Edge returns. This one looked weird and different to me than the others. I don't know why.
Everything felt off. Like, honestly, they should, like I said before on our last episode, I think they should have had Judgment Day go over and then Edge appears,
Right.
because otherwise it's just too fucking predictable. And what it was obviously too predictable, like, especially because they had to black out and turn all the lights off near where the entrance was during the match, and the crowd started chanting, "We can't see," or "Turn the lights on" and stuff. So we obviously knew that the lights were off there because they were setting up the thing for Edge.
Right.
And then it's like, dude, it's just like you start and boom, and here comes, and like Edge cut his hair even more than he had before they did the, like, dude, like, you're trying to do old brood Edge and you got a short haircut. Like, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing just felt a bit flat to me.
It
Really.
did. Like, Judgment Day needed that win and then the surprise, because like,
The whole group has felt flat. I mean, aside
right,
from the
the
time
whole
where they
group
like,
is right. The whole group just seems like fodder for Edge now.
I mean, aside from the times it's done any sneak attacks or backstage attacks, the group in general just kind of felt flat right
Right.
now. Which actually I think goes back to when Rhea couldn't compete for the title shot she earned. That's, I feel like,
Yeah.
when the falling flat began.
I mean, I think the
Um,
falling flat began when they kicked out Edge. And like the whole reasoning was like they wanted Judgment Day to do more supernatural shit. And since that's happened,
they haven't
there hasn't
done
been any
shit.
supernatural shit.
Yeah,
Like, obviously, we're going to be building towards Edge versus Balor in Cardiff. That's
right,
a given. But I'm sorry, but Edge versus the Demon would have made so much more sense had Finn still been a babyface and Edge been the heel. Because the crowd is going to cheer the fuck out of seeing the Demon.
right,
Especially if he does the Jack the Ripper Demon that he did at the UK takeover years ago.
right. Then we get McAfee and Corbin. Pat McAfee wins. We all saw that coming because you're not going to have Pat lose to Corbin because it's not going to be anything more than a one-off.
McAfee, you had to deal with some humidity issues.
Yeah, he had some issues with his, top rope shit, but he got through it.
It looks like that finish was supposed to be him doing a Panama Sunrise to say fuck you to Adam Cole. But he slipped, but he caught it quick and made it look all right in the end.
He made I believe the phrase would be made chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yep.
And basically turned the Panama Sunrise into a code red.
Mm-hmm.
So hi Zelina Vega, hi Amazing Red.
Hi Roxy.
yeah, true. So yeah, I mean, again, solid match. Nothing crazy out of the ordinary, really. But
Right.
again, solid worked match by Pat and Corbin. Not bad.
I'm also sad that they stopped paying for the rights for Corbin to use Seven Nation, or for Pat to use Seven Nation Army to come out to.
Yeah.
Because that was like the fun, that was the fun thing. Like going to live events, and when they announced the commentary team and McAfee would come out to it, and then like coming into Mania, I was like, are they going to let him use it? And they let him use it at Mania.
Right.
And then they just got this like hacked out, like generic version. I'm like, no, just pay for the rights.
Right. Then we get Drew cutting a promo in the middle of the entranceway on a like half-assed kind of sort of Gene Okerlund stage thingy-mabobber.
Yeah.
Then we get the tag title match. Usos retain over the Profits.
I think their match at Money in the Bank was better.
Yeah, still a pretty damn good match though, all in all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bloodline rules. I mean, what else can you say about that at this point?
I don't know. I like I said last week, I thought this would have been the prime spot to have the Usos lose the tag belts and then also have them get the shit kicked out of them in the main and do an injury angle with one of them so that they would still be there at Roman's side, but couldn't go for the belts yet again.
Right. Then we get to Riddle. He comes to the ring through the crowd, basically calls out Rollins, doesn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Brawl ensues. Rollins hits a stomp again. And obviously, the commentary played it up, trying to make, freak out like it was going to be some kind of like, they could paralyze Riddle or some shit like that. Just,
Like, I thought we were going to get Rollins versus a mystery opponent, but apparently not.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I had to label that another flat thing for the show.
I think they just did that to keep to keep it shorter than going way over. Because I mean, the whole pay-per-view went 3.5 hours, but it didn't feel like it went 3.5 hours.
Right.
It flowed naturally, so I guess it was just easier for them to give them a 4-minute segment rather than have to cut another match short to try to do something more grandiose with that.
Now we get to the first thing I need to kind of yell and scream about.
Okay.
SmackDown Women's Title match.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I described on the Traven Rigney podcast last week when they did a SummerSlam preview.
Mm-hmm.
And friends of Godzilla Media, fellow partners of Godzilla Media. So I'm not outsourcing our ideals to anyone, JJ. It's staying in-house. We're fine.
No, that's fine.
But I said this last week in the SummerSlam preview on that show, and I'm going to say it again here. fuck Ronda Rousey. Like, if you're really gonna go so far as to blame how shitty this match came off on the fact that apparently Logan Paul and Miz went a little longer than expected, so he asked them to cut time from this match.
Oh, is that
Yes,
what they went with?
that's the prevailing theory that's being worked with right now. And that's also been like I like it was legitimately on a couple of wrestling news websites too. So
I hadn't
yes.
seen that. Wow.
Oh, huh. So the fact that people are going to try to use that's that angle to try and forgive and forget Ronda Rousey being a complete bum ass bitch in the ring, stop it.
I mean, I knew the
Fucking
match was gonna
stop it.
suck.
Just can we just fucking admit Ronda sucks now? Like I know you and I are on the same page.
I
But can
mean,
we just fucking admit Ronda does not fucking fit?
I don't know about she doesn't fit. I just think she's not as enamored with the business as she was when she first signed. And I think that's a telling tale of everything she does in life. Is she was an Olympic judo champ who like was all about that until she won the gold medal and then was done with it. And then she did the ultimate fighting thing and was all enamored with that until she got her ass handed to her once and then hated that. And then she signed with WWE and was the new flavor of the month and was the focus of everything. And then just kind of got tired of that.
You're basically solidifying the point I'm getting at. She gets bored easily and she hates losing because she has
Mm-hmm.
still, even though she loves pro wrestling and blah, 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 she still has an Olympic and MMA mentality of hating losing.
Yep.
Even though losing doesn't mean fucking jack shit.
Right.
Like, and so that's what makes those who broke through as former Olympians, like the Kurt Angles of the world,
Mm-hmm.
so great that they were able to put ego aside coming into the business
Right.
and adjust properly. You know that's what made. I mean, some might argue otherwise, but I think that's what makes Brock so great recently is that he's uh, now. I'm okay. Great might be a bit too much, but that's what. But like, let me put it this way: that's what makes the current incantation of Brock better than the first incantation of Brock. Brock still had that mentality of "I hate losing, fuck losing, blah blah blah." But the current Brock is more business savvy than the first version of Brock. I guess would be the best way for
A
me to put it.
little.
Ronda isn't. Ronda doesn't have that business savvy to realize that it's not all about the wins in this
Right.
fucking business.
Right.
Um, I think, and I also think that maybe having a kid has kind of make her think that, maybe I can get out of this.
Right.
I have other ways of marketing myself. I can get out of this, and wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Um, does that mean Ronda's going away anytime soon? Who the fuck knows at this point?
I think she is. I think the plan that they want to do is eventually lead to Ronda and Becky at Mania in LA. And considering Becky's injury and how she's going to be out for a bit, they're able to kind of cool the jets on that for right now.
If they do, great. Like the only thing right now is that they have to also close because they didn't properly close the chapter with Charlotte yet.
They didn't? I think they did.
Do you think so?
They had Charlotte tap out to her. That's done and done.
I don't know about that. We'll see. Um, then we have Kane come out and announce the attendance. I'll circle back to that after we
Mm-hmm.
go over the main event.
Oh, yes.
So Brock Lesnar in a tractor.
Harken back to the Attitude Era.
So Brock and Roman match is going, blah blah blah. Brock has the upper hand at this point. Um, takes the tractor, pushes the ring up. Okay, sure.
Back it up. Before that, what I was really worried about, like I was sitting here cringing watching, me and the wife, because the way they had he had the tractor angled and how the bucket was there, like over part of the ring. Like we kept worrying that he was going to do something and just toss Roman, and Roman's head was going to get cut open by that fucking loader. Like every time they got near it, we got scared. Because we all knew that Brock was going away for a bit after this. So Brock kind of wasn't going to care about what happened to people in this.
To a degree. I think him and Roman have been in the ring enough where he wouldn't do that to Roman per se. Okay. So, to me, the tractor thing, yeah, cool spot. Cool, bro.
Sucks if you had front row tickets.
Ringside in general, how about that?
Yeah, I can't see shit.
Yeah, who cares about lights now, bitch? To me, the tractor spot was just fluff and distraction from the clusterfuck that was about to happen. Because the Usos get involved. Then, God bless this little fat Jew bastard. Fucking Heyman. Heyman takes an F5 through the announce table.
Jesus.
Which, if you had told me that 20 years ago, I would have called you fucking psychotic. Then Theory comes out, kind of sort of attempts to cash in. Brock says, fuck that shit. But that provides enough distraction for Roman to get the upper hand and the Usos to recover. And then they pile a bunch of broken furniture on top of Brock. And that's
it was the ending to Frankenstein.
And that's how Roman gets to 10.
So that was legit. That was the end of the original Boris Karloff Frankenstein. So how do you defeat the monster? By having everything fall on top of him.
I wonder if they really thought about that when they did that ending.
I think Trips might
have. So Roman retains. Theory still has the briefcase, barely, and now Brock goes away for a little while, and we'll see when he comes back. My guess. I mean, the obvious options would be Survivor Series time or Rumble time. I lean towards Rumble time.
I'd say Rumble time, but here's the thing is, if you're going to use Brock for a big money match at Mania, how are you going to do that when Brock only wants to be in title matches? That's the problem. Like, that's part of like Brock's contract. Is his matches always have to be included as part of the title. So you're kind of in a catch-22 there.
I'm not going to propose what's on my mind. I want to sit and I'm going to let the idea I have wash over me, and I'll come back to it at some point.
All right.
Maybe not in this show, but we'll discuss it off air.
Okay.
And we'll figure it out. But I have an idea for Brock for Mania, now that you're saying all that.
Okay.
But let's go back to what happened right before the main event. And that was Kane announcing the attendance. Attendance was announced as 48,449. Now, pictures have obviously circulated about how a portion of the stadium was completely empty. I think there was talk about them doing something similar to like what they did for what TK did with Ring of Honor, as far as setting up the crowd specifically in certain spots and having camera angles in certain spots. It's just that WWE, they pulled off well because they had 25 times the amount of people.
But not like it wasn't real. Like when they sold the ticket, when tickets went on sale, that section on the other, like behind where the hard cam section was never for sale. They never put that up.
I know.
They only put up the U shape that would be looking at the ring that the camera could see, and they hadn't opened the very top tier. And what
Correct.
happened was when there was a higher demand for tickets, they opened up that very top tier. They
Hmm.
never had the plan because it's the same setup that they were going to do for Money in the Bank.
Hmm.
That was going to be the same setup in Vegas. So it's the plan that, yes, it's a stadium, but it's not Mania. So they know that it's easier to just sell X amount of tickets and be able to open up sections rather than have the whole thing for sale from the beginning and then have people scattered like ants. And the reason they did this like they did is because it's obviously more financially advantageous for whoever owns the stadium to be able to have the stadium be used outside of whatever sport is usually played there if it's the off season,
Right.
like Vegas, obviously Vegas and Tennessee were both, it's the off season for football, so it wasn't getting used.
Hmm.
And it's better to do that and fill it 2/3 the way through, because I'm sorry, but 48,000 and it's not half of 69,000. 48,000 is more close to 2/3, 3/4,
Hmm.
and it still looks great. And the thing is, they have a lot of production equipment that it's a lot easier to move around. Like I saw a couple of people post online about, yeah, I was there. There was a whole bunch of camera equipment and lighting rigs and stuff on the other side. It helped make the show go a lot quicker, yada, yada. And that's completely fine. And so I see no issue with this. For every basement goblin says, go, they can't even fill a stadium. Motherfucker, AEW can't fill a stadium. They can't fill a 6,000 seat arena. So guess what? I'm sorry, but if you think that WWE selling 48,000 out of 70,000 seats in a stadium is a failure, I think I said this before numerous times in the past few months. You're a fucking idiot. And you don't know how business works.
So before we get to Raw from a couple nights ago,
Mm-hmm.
a couple things as far as WWE as a business is concerned. Number one, um, so they announced. I'm not sure if it was. I can't remember if they did it. If they revealed this during SummerSlam, if it was revealed. I think it was revealed during the week when they were doing tryouts. If I remember correctly. WrestleMania 40 is going to be in Philadelphia in 2024
Yep.
at Lincoln Financial Field. Um,
I might actually go to that.
Good pick, bad pick, indifferent about the pick. How do you feel about it?
It's Philly. I mean, it's like people complain about the couple of times they ran Mania at at MetLife, where they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, because there's a chance of snow in fucking March, April." Like, uh, so it'd be a hell of a sight for a Mania.
So, uh,
I'm cool with it. It's different because usually all these stadium shows have always been in the southern half of the U.S.
mhm, or
Like,
West, yeah.
yeah, so that this is nice. This is something closer. Like, I mean, I might, like, depending on where my finances are at come that year, I might like to, finally scratch Mania off my bucket list and go to Philly.
Another thing, specific to the tryouts. Do we really want to see Dwight Howard be in the WWE?
No.
Thank you. Uh, Last thing though, and a more serious note. So we have Dakota come back.
Hmm.
We have Io appear when all reports were saying she's essentially out the door.
Hmm.
There's now talks that with Vince gone, a potential return for Sasha Banks and Naomi is imminent any week now.
Yeah,
Is it possible? Let me put it this way: is it probable that we could see more recent cuts making returns like a Dakota Kai did?
absolutely.
Can I propose one name quick to see what you think of it?
Sure.
just because I I think we can both agree the way he was brought up from NXT was extremely flat.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I'm not mentioning Johnny Gargano. Sorry. Um, it, that just seems like one that's too obvious to even touch at this point.
Johnny will be there next year.
Right.
Johnny
So
wants to spend the first year of his kid's life at home.
correct. So that's another reason why I'm not touching it. The one I do want to touch though is one that's worked very minimum indie dates since being cut from NXT. Well, not NXT. He was in WWE technically at that point by
Mm-hmm.
then. And I feel like got a real shit end of the stick when he did get called up. And it
Mm-hmm.
was recent. Would you like to take a guess on the name I'm thinking of?
Karrion Kross.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a possibility?
I do if he's willing to concede to Trips on a couple of things.
Like what?
The big issue with him was that he didn't want to get a COVID vaccination.
Okay.
So kind of have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, I thought because Trips knew how to produce him,
Mm-hmm.
and then they brought him up to the main, and they didn't know how to produce him. They kept him with the same slow, methodic music, but like it's a much longer entrance ramp. And they didn't give him Scarlet because they obviously want to be like, well, let's see how you do without the chick. But that's one of those acts where you need the chick.
Yeah, it was a package deal.
That was like Savage and Liz. That was like Eminem. Like you need to have the chick there.
Mm-hmm.
So they
And it also didn't
hamstrung
help
him.
that they partially changed his wardrobe to look like
Demolition.
Okay, I was gonna say Farouk, but okay.
No, it looked more like Demolition or not Demolition. Unabomb.
Oh,
They tried to make him look like Unabomb.
yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I could definitely see because he stayed in great shape. He's had nothing but good things to say about his experience in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't burn any bridges.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely, yeah.
Okay. Now, again, before we get into Raw, I want to bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
Came across my timeline on social media over the last week, and I just want to bring this up because it was fascinating to go back and watch the entirety of this 50 or so minutes that I have went back and watched.
I'm gonna write a mean tweet. Me and
So
my friend Mark are gonna riot.
Oh, okay. I think
You remember that promo?
Yes. That's not what I'm referring to. So if you recall, in 2015, when Hunter was starting to really build up NXT in its initial stages, Hunter was brought on for the Stone Cold podcast after an edition of Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And it went about 50 or so minutes. It can still be found on Peacock, by the way, which is how I watched it back. So if you have, if you haven't seen it recently or haven't seen clips of it recently, I highly suggest, for pertaining to this specific segment of this podcast, you go watch that because it'll make more sense what I'm about to bring up.
Right.
So within that 50 minutes, there was a discussion about kayfabe in the business or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, the prevailing thought that the IWC was killing the business in a certain
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yep.
Hunter talked about having the ability to shift gears when people know too much for their own good.
Yep.
And then the one thing that I saw on social media, a clip about on social media that made me want to go back and watch this, was Hunter being a proponent at the time of wanting to go back to 2 hours for Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
In generalities, do we think the Hunter business mind of 2022 has a lot of the similar beliefs of Hunter 2015? And if so, does that leave the door open for maybe going back to 2-hour Raw not anytime soon, but at some point, say in the next 18 months?
I I saw his points and I agree with some of them, but I think Raw has been 3 hours for so long now that to try to shorten it, I think would hurt the product. I think Hunter knows how to fill the 3 hour time without so much fluff.
Hmm.
Um, because the one person who's like the the elephant in the room on that is Kevin Dunn with his TV executive producing credit, whatever. Um, Kevin Dunn needs to let someone else take the reins. And Trips has shown that he can fit a lot of stuff into a 2 hour show with NXT the way it was back in the day. He can obviously transition that to a 3 hour Raw without having to have people do 25-minute promo segments and without having to put in huge freaking
I was wondering when
without
the fuck you were going to see my face. Jesus.
without having to you know show the same recap packages 85 times in a 3 hour period. There's you've got enough, you've got people on the roster and you've got enough room to give them enough time to be able to do shit without, and you can do it and you can build, you can build, you know programs and stuff, and you can actually, and I think what Trips will do, in all honesty, is I think Trips is going to start utilizing shows like Main Event again to try to, test the waters on some programs and then move them to Raw or move them to SmackDown and be like, this is what you missed on Main Event. And that might get some eyes on the product for the Peacock shows that people kind of think are in like the graveyard.
Right. And speaking of Raw, so we had Raw the other night. First hour was commercial free,
Mm-hmm.
which I think goes back to one of the things we just said that Hunter mentioned in the podcast. People knowing too much. You 99% of the time when Raw has a commercial free hour, that's pre-announced.
Right.
Nobody fucking knew shit about this until basically right before they went on the air.
USA announced it like 6 hours earlier in the day.
Okay, USA, cool.
Yeah.
Well, who from the Basement Goblins follows USA Network? Unless they're like Dave Meltzer. Like,
Well, no, because the thing is, then what happens is USA reports it, and then what happens is PW Insider reports it that USA said it, and then every copy paste dirt sheet goes, "Oh my God, blah blah blah."
yeah, what you said. So up with Becky, giving a promo in a sling, her basically goodbye promo. Bianca comes out and basically gets the handoff from Becky.
Mm-hmm.
Then they show Becky get jumped backstage by Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io. So that's the opening segment.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a pair of U.S. title eliminator matches to get to the number one contenders match in the main event.
Yeah.
First one, AJ beats Ali and Miz
Mm-hmm.
in a triple threat. Then we get this one. This was definitely a different segment, and I don't know. It's a very subtle change, but I think it's kind of a cool change because you have Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Io get caught by Sarah Schreiber as they seemingly on the way out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And in the same breath, they do their very short promo. They leave. Usos come in, and Sarah catches them for a quick interview.
Yeah.
I don't know that I kind of found that as kind of cool in a way. I don't
Yeah.
know. It was very different.
Yeah.
It was very different. Um, then we get Rollins cutting a promo. He's interrupted by the Prophets.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually Montez ends up having a one-on-one match with Rollins, loses.
Yeah. They're
Um,
definitely like, they're not going to split up the profits anytime soon. The fact that they're having guys troll the internet by mentioning that in promos
right.
is just, it just shows they're not, and there's merch money to be left on the table with the profits. It would be like that's why like they never split up the New Day when Kofi was getting a singles push or Big E was getting a singles push. They still kept them as a unit
Right.
because they knew there was still money to be had.
Exactly. Then we have Asuka and Alexa go to a no contest after being attacked by Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Io.
Mm-hmm.
Bianca makes a save, chases them away, then says she wants to face one of them later in the night. Ends up being Io. We'll get to that in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
The second U.S. title eliminator triple threat, Ciampa beats Dolph Ziggler and Chad Gable.
Mm-hmm.
Then Edge come out, cuts a promo against the Judgment Day. Again, I was kind of on it.
It's like, I will end the Judgment Day. I'm like, you kind of already have, bro.
Yeah, they kind of already are done. Then we get a Mysterio's backstage interview where they're talking about how they're going to win the tag titles.
No.
Then Bailey and Dakota come out in Io's corner. Bianca comes out alone, but then eventually Asuka and Alexa Bliss come out. And the match ends in a no contest like the Alexa and Asuka match earlier because we turned into a 6-way brawl.
Which is smart because you're just getting this angle started. You don't want anyone on either side to be taking a pin yet.
And here's what I liked, too. Not every match that goes to a no contest or a double DQ kind of finish has to immediately turn into a fucking tag match.
Right.
Doesn't have to.
Right.
You can cliffhang shit. It's not.
Yeah.
It's okay. Cliffhangers are okay.
Right. Because that was getting tiresome after a while. Was like blah 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 blah. No contest. Cut to commercial. Come back, and we're in the middle of a tag or a 6-man
Right.
because it just happened.
And the perfect example was the week before when Drew and Theory
right
were working, and then the Brawling Brutes came out, and then who the fuck was it? The Profits who teamed with Drew?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you come back from break, it's like, oh, it's a 6-man tag.
Right. Like there's no need.
Right. Then we get Miz and Ciampa backstage interview, whatever. Then Booker T on commentary, which
because they were in Texas and
okay.
He was there, and now every fucking basement cop's gonna be like, see, Booker's fucking E-drone, even though like Booker's students are in AEW.
Right. Right. Ciampa ends up beating Styles.
Yes.
Become number one contender for the U.S. title.
Yes.
Then Lashley does a backstage interview in gear, which, if you don't know the inner workings of a WWE live event, would have made no fucking sense. But odds are Lashley was in the dark match. That's probably why.
Probably.
And then the end of the night, Wow. Usos retain over the Mysterios. Judgment Day attacks Mysterios, and Edge comes to save the day, seemingly, but then accidentally spears Dom to go off the air when Rhea pushes Dom in front of Finn to take the spear.
After Rhea got that most awesome pose ever.
With the head scissors on.
Yep. Dom living the life we all wish we could be.
Except
the second that happened, I'm like, that's the closest Dominic's ever been to a beautiful woman.
Except his face was going. Never mind.
Well, it's Dominic. You know he wouldn't get that right on the first try.
What's
anyway.
this? What's this? I'm sorry. Daddy, what's this?
I didn't send you the fucking like videos that have been circulating of Rhea like after the show.
Oh Jesus.
They're fucking hilarious. I'll forward to you afterwards. They're like little 4-second videos. They're great. But yeah, I don't know. I think the only gripe I had about Raw, which I mean, like usually I've got a whole bunch of gripes about Raw.
Right.
The only gripe I really had was I think that the tag title match should have been like the cap off of the 10 o'clock hour, and the U.S. title eliminator match should have been the main. Like, I think that deserved a little more credit, like, and, you know, give Ciampa a little bit more of his moment. Yeah. But I mean, besides that, I mean, we you know, you can tell Trips is in charge. We went from, you know, whateverness to Ciampa getting 2 big wins in one night, freaking getting a win over AJ Styles in a singles match, whether it was dirty or not. And he's going for the U.S. title next week. Mm-hmm. Like, life is good.
And I'd argue you're kind of seeing a revitalization in the women's division a little bit here.
Absolutely. We've gotten a reboot of at least the Raw women's roster right now.
Yeah, now we got to fix the SmackDown women's roster.
We will.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck you're going to do to fix that, though, but we'll figure it out.
People are like, oh, Toxic Attraction going to go to SmackDown. I'm like, if they want a job squad, sure.
Al Snow, Too Cold.
Dwayne Gill.
Bob Holly was in that too, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Bob Holly, Al Snow, Dwayne Gill.
Pre-hardcore Holly, Bob Holly, by the way.
Yeah.
In fact, wasn't that what led him to being hardcore Holly? Essentially,
Yeah.
was that gimmick? Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, Hooser. Let's jump into NXT quick.
Jordan Devlin needs to pay attention to where the camera is before he puts a blood capsule in his mouth. That was last week.
Right. With the promo, right?
Yeah.
With Breaker coming out and then JD bleeding from the mouth. Yeah.
I mean, last week there wasn't anything really of note. This week was you can tell they're still trying to cycle through what they had, but Trips is doing what he can with it.
Yeah, like they're still going through the whole Wesley Trick Williams thing with Waller beat West because of Trick Williams being ringside with boxing gloves, because everyone sits at ringside with boxing gloves.
Right. And it was so Trick could reenact the Muhammad Ali pose.
Right.
Photo.
And then Wesley wore a Muhammad Ali t-shirt and referenced Muhammad Ali stuff this week. In his promo where he challenged Trick
to a rounds match.
Right. Interesting. Apollo beats Zion Quinn. Saray challenges Mandy because reasons.
Yeah.
And then Mandy's like, I remember what you did when I first came back to NXT. I will beat you. Blah, blah, blah. It's essentially what it sounded like.
Yeah. And then the match this week was just meh.
Because that's what you expect from them. Then they're really just building up Zoe and Mandy because she beats Gigi last week.
Yeah.
And they're also building up Cora and Roxanne because after the match, Zoe fended off Toxic, then got attacked by Cora with a kendo stick, and then Roxy came out and chased off Cora Jade. They also keep building this Wendy Chu, Tiffany Stratton shit with Wendy Chu's weird promo thing from last week, and then showing Tiffany Stratton on a fucking gymnastics mat this week, like
because they're trying to they're trying
to build the premier like a premier athlete versus a Joe Schmo kind of angle.
That, but they're also trying to, like I said, Trips is trying to do with what he can. Because, like, obviously, when they first introduced Tiffany Stratton, it was like, I'm a spoiled rich bitch. Look at me. And Trips sat there and goes, we brought her in because she's a fucking gymnast. That's why she does these flips in the ring. Maybe we should show why the fuck she does these flips in the ring.
Good idea. Then we had Medusa. Well, sorry, Alundra Blaze. My bad. She interrupts a Roxy backstage interview, announces the Fatal 4-Way that took place this week to open NXT, which gave us new women's tag champs in Kaden Carter and Katana Chance.
That was definitely a shit or get off the pot moment.
Basically, yeah. So now we just gotta wait and see what they do with them. Like,
yeah,
here you go. You bet it long enough. Run with them now.
Right.
Vinci beats Andre Chase last week, and then he was gonna answer Melo's open challenge for North American title this week, but Melo said the first person in the ring gets the shot. So when Vinci was doing his slow ass entrance, Nathan Frazier runs down and gets in the ring first. So Frazier gets the title shot. Vinci ends up on commentary. Melo goes over with help from Vinci. Just the whole kind of schmoz bullshit, basically.
But this will build up. This will do. This sets up a feud for Frazier and Vinci, and Frazier needs to learn to slow the fuck down. Like, good Lord! Like, I was getting flashbacks of when Frazier did the run into the ring and they had the match. It reminded me a lot of 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Maybe it was a year ago. On NXT when Adam Cole, it had to be 2 years ago. Adam Cole did the open challenge and Melo answered. And Melo came in and was just like ball of fire and needed to slow the fuck down. It was like a mirror image of that. But now Melo is the one being like, dude, slow the fuck down. So it goes to show how much Melo has evolved.
Also, looks like they're trying to set up Math Bitch versus Ass Bitch
Hmm.
with Kiana James and Nikita Lyons. Kiana James had a package last week with mathematics and just basically saying nobody wants to see Nikita half naked and all kinds of shit kind of thing. And then Nikita answered this week, and yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Then there was an Alba Fire Lash Legend package, which led to their match this week, where Alba Fire goes over on Lash Legend.
Now let's put this baby to bed because no one wants to see this shit.
Right. Um, then the Tony D family beat Diamond Mine in an 8-man tag, which gave Tony D and Stacks a shot at the tag titles against the Creeds this week, which the Creeds won. Thanks to, and here's the setup. Ref's distracted. Tony D is given the crowbar from Elektra
Mm-hmm.
before he can pull the crowbar away from the apron area. Santos appears off camera and grabs the other end of the crowbar. Then they zoom out and show Santos keeping Tony D from moving. He pulls Tony D into the ropes to get the crowbar out of his hands and then punches him with the knucks. And then
Mm-hmm.
Creeds end up getting the win off that. And now apparently it sounds like, are they doing another like
They're doing
summit
another
thing,
fucking summit.
but just one-on-one with Tony D and Santos? Because
Right.
reasons.
Like, in all honesty, they need to end this, and like they really should just do like a loser leaves fucking NXT thing to
Mhm.
let Santos go to the main roster.
Agreed. The only other thing really that I got out of this is um it seems like they're, well, two other things. One, we had Solo beating Wagner to end NXT this week in the Falls Count Anywhere match
Mm-hmm.
with the frog splash that didn't quite reach the announce table. It was more like a
Mm-hmm.
headbutt, but whatever. The other thing, it almost seems like they're trying to set up Jensen and Josh Briggs.
Yep.
It almost seems like they're trying to set him up for a triple threat potentially at whatever takeover they're going to do in the UK on Labor Day weekend. Um, because it seems like they've started a program with them and Schism, but they also
Yep.
still have this shit going on with Pretty Deadly too.
Yeah.
So
It's
um,
odd.
it is odd. Um, but that's the only thing I can think of is that's what it feels like they're setting up for.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Pretty Dead, I don't know. Unless the Schism thing is just a random. Because you also have the whole thing with Gacy and Grimes too, so that's like
Right.
it's I don't know. Like maybe it was
I
just a
feel
one.
like
It might have been just a 1 week thing where they were using Briggs and Jensen as a vehicle to get to Grimes.
so. What I feel like they're going to do with that is they're going to keep holding off. They're going to keep doing the whole thing with Briggs and Jensen and Pretty Deadly for a bit to lead over to Cardiff. In the meantime, what I think we're going to get is a 6-man of Briggs, Jensen, and Grimes versus the Schism
Mm-hmm.
in the next couple of weeks, possibly at Heatwave.
Yeah, because that's in less than 2 weeks now. Yeah,
Yeah.
possible, very possible.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was there any other WWE stuff to get to before we get into the shit show for our other half of the show? All right, well let's just go on and drive our way from the good product to the bad product. Let's get some help doing that from Mohawk Honda because their team can help find what you're looking for by searching not just their lot but also the entire Eastern Seaboard. The real opportunity, though, right now, just like it has been for months on end because of how things are with inventory across the country with dealerships, the real opportunity is trading in or selling your vehicle. Mohawk Honda buys cars, and in some cases, could even give you more than you paid for it when you first got the vehicle. It's a great, I mean, that sounds like a great idea to me. So, all I got to do, go to the team at Mohawk Honda, where they will make the buying and selling experience very easy for you. Our boy Cars with Currents Svoboda, Trust Trav Landry, Louis the VIP Man Morales, my boy Cam McKenna, or just go right to the main man in charge, General Manager Greg Johnson. They'll help hook you up because they want to buy your car and then maybe even turn around and put you into a newer and better vehicle that fits your budget and your lifestyle because of Mohawk Honda at Freeman's Bridge Road in Scotia, they always go out of their way to please you. That being said, do you have your notes ready, Mr. Alexander?
Oh, I do, but I thought we were going to cover the Ric Flair show first.
Oh, sure. That's right. Let's do the Ric Flair show first. Let's transition to the complete shit show and start with the half shit show.
Yeah.
Um,
And I just want to set this up by saying, like, the only reason I saw this was because Sunday was DPW co-owner Shell's birthday. I know she hates anyone mentioning her birthday, but I'm doing it anyway.
happy birthday.
And so as such, she let out an open invite to do same thing that we used to do in the old DPW days when Mike Milano was still alive, was we would do Sunday dinner. Usually for for like a pay-per-view or something, or just like the day after a show. So she left an open invite for a Sunday dinner, and I got there later in the day, but no one had left yet. Like, luckily everyone had pretty much been running late. So it was nice to, wheel my chair in, and there's Bobby Ocean, and there's Andy Sweet, and there's Doc Heresy. And then I look over and there's fucking Billy King, who I haven't seen in years since he left the biz. And on top of it, like right around the time I got there, Billy King was on a FaceTime with our good friend Len Oddity. So it was just family. It was wonderful to have like family together. Oh, and Nocturne and Carol. I feel so bad.
They're the oh by the way. Jesus. The oh by the way is Nocturne and Carol. That's nice. Jesus. Not
yeah.
Carol, I'm sorry. Blame him, not me. That way. Blame him.
But yeah, so it was a nice little gathering, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, the Ric Flair thing is on," and so Shell found someone who was streaming it on Twitch, illegally. So we all piled into the living room to watch most of it.
Oh, good. They pulled off the angle that they did for the AAA shows, and they're just streaming on Twitch. That's nice. That's good. Any hooser. So, pre-show, Ren Narita beat Yuya Uemura. Which was a last minute change, if I remember correctly, because I believe he was supposed to originally face Clark Connors, and then Clark Connors got hurt.
Connor was hurt.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Mance Warner ended up winning the Bunkhouse Battle Royal.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't a huge battle royal. It was what it was.
Yeah.
We had guys like
Sin
Damo.
Bodhi.
Who?
Sin Bodhi was in there.
Yep. Damo, Crimson, Effie, loved, great. Ricky Shane Page, Blake Christian, Joey Janela, James Storm, and Bully Ray was the last eliminated. Yay.
Yep.
The main card, Guns beat the Wolves in about 11 minutes. Killer Cross beat Davey Boy Smith Jr. in 5.
That was right when we tuned in. That match was just super short.
Yep, a lot of the matches were super short. It was only looks like it was only like was it even a 3-hour show?
Oh, they made it a 3-hour show.
Anyways,
because the Flair match went like a fucking hour.
Gresham won the 4-way against Alan Angels, Takeshita, and Nick Wayne.
That was a big fuck you to Tony Khan.
Which, by the way, determined no one contender for the Progress World Championship as well.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I'm trying to remember who the fuck has it now.
I don't know, because I thought Gresham had it.
Well, no, he had to vacate it because it was during that whole concussion bullshit.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Back then.
So it's probably for the vacated belt.
Oh, no. He vacated it May 15th, and then they had a tournament, a 3-day tournament for it. Chris Ridgway is the champion now.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Ridgway is the champ right now. Any hooser. Getting back to the show. Let's see here. Oh, for fuck's sake.
What?
They really labeled Pillman Jr. and Brock Anderson as the Four Horsemen,
Oh yeah, that was bad. That was
and they
so bad. And they
and
fucking
Ricky
put him over.
over Ricky and Kerry Morton's.
Yep,
Oh God, fuck me.
that was bad.
Um, bad is in what? The fact they came out as a Four Horsemen, or bad is in the match sucked.
Both.
Okay. Then Ray Phoenix beats Bandito, Laredo Kid, and Black Taurus in a four-way.
That was a whole lot of sloppy spots, man. Oh,
I mean, duh. Um, Alexander and Fatu go to a no contest for the Impact World title.
ugh.
Briscoes beat the Von Erichs in less than 8
So
minutes.
back it up to the last match.
Alexander Fatu, go ahead.
So it was a semi decent match, and I mean, like we were sitting there talking the whole time, like we knew that Fatu wasn't going to win, obviously,
Right.
because he's not under contract to Impact. He couldn't win the title anyway because he can't leave the country. So like, then that's like we should have just made this an exhibition match instead of
What
saying
the
it's a title
fuck?
match.
I just saw what the ending was.
Yeah, this is where I messaged you and said fucking Matt Cardona.
So the match ends because we're running by Myers, Cardona, and Smart Mark Sterling.
Yep.
And then to help save Josh Alexander from the beatdown, DDP gets in and gives a diamond cutter to Cardona.
Yep. This is what happens when you let Conrad Thompson book a show.
Jesus fuck me. Oh wait, how many fucking commentators do you need throughout the fucking show?
Oh, it's because they basically for every match they had a commentator from each company being represented.
So
like,
you had Shivani and Crockett as the main commentators because everybody really wants David Crockett on commentary these days.
Oh, God, no one wanted him in the commentary back in the day.
Then you got Ian Riccaboni coming in on Ring of Honor and New Japan stuff.
Yep.
Why New Japan? No fucking clue. Maybe Kevin Kelly couldn't make it. I don't fucking know.
I thought Kevin Kelly was there.
Wasn't listed as a commentator. I don't fucking know.
Interesting.
Then you had Tom Hannafin and Scott D'Amore for the Impact stuff towards the end of the show.
I think Hannafin was there. Oh, that's right. I thought Hannafin was there for the MLW stuff, but I get
Joe Dombrowski and Dave Prazak were there.
That's right, for the MLW. Yep.
What? Yeah. And then Nick Aldis, I'm assuming, was on for the main event.
I don't recall him being on for the main event.
They listed him as being a commentator, so I'm assuming
he must have said like 3 words because I don't remember hearing him.
And then you had 2 different ring announcers because God forbid you don't put Dave Pencer on the fucking card for the main event. Apparently,
they almost had more because they had Kurt Adonis there, and he was he was relegated to being the timekeeper.
And then they needed how many fucking guys are you gonna give a payday to? They need 7 fucking referees.
Yeah, because it's Conrad, dude. He's a fucking mark.
You don't need 7 referees. You need 4, maybe.
Especially when one of them literally did 5 seconds worth of work.
Oh, fuck me. Anyways,
So we Von Erichs versus the Briscoes is next. That one, another one was super short. Like, and they were just feeling each other out when the finish happened. I was like, what the fuck? Like, because they were like just starting to get that momentum. And then friggin' hits a froggy elbow out of nowhere, which is, it's not always the finish. Like, I mean, it's like it's been a finish at times, but it's usually not the finish, and it was the finish.
Froggy Bow.
Yeah.
By the way, the back. Oh, this is so carny. The segment before the tag match. Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler talking to Jeff Jarrett.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know.
They're basically telling Jeff to win because Rick stole the strut from Jackie Fargo. That's the fucking reasoning?
Yeah. Lawler was all, I booked Jeff when he was a rookie in his first match. So he owes me. And we all know that Ric Flair is not the original Nature Boy. And so you got to promise me when you're out there, you do the Fargo strut. And I'm like, but the whole thing was when Jarrett started doing the strut, when they brought him into WWF, they said that he was doing the Buddy Rogers strut, not the Jackie Fargo strut.
So they just completely washed over the whole Four Horsemen stuff from the documentary that they did.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hate wrestling sometimes. I really do.
It's Conrad, baby.
And we get Jordan Grace retaining the Knockouts title in a 3-way over Perazo and Ellering.
There's a whole lot of ass in that match.
I'm sure you like that. Of course, Tiana wasn't the one to tap out. It was Rachel. Of course,
of course.
Why would Deanna take a loss? She's like the Impact version of Ronda Rousey at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Yeah, I fucking said that, Basement Goblins. Deanna is basically Impact's version of fucking Ronda Rousey.
Mm-hmm.
She hates taking the fall.
Yep.
Suck a dick. Then we get to yay, the main event.
Oh my god, dude. We sat there. Now it goes to start, and we turn and we look and we're like, damn, this is gonna be like a 2-hour pay-per-view. And then we're like, they're probably gonna stretch this out and shit, blah blah blah. Jarrett's entrance was 8 minutes. Just Jarrett's entrance, and everyone got an individual entrance. Jarrett's fucking that annoying ass knockoff ambulance fucking that he's been using for TNA for 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Because the whole thing was Jarrett went out there and started a fight with Conrad in the front row.
And that's why it was 8 minutes.
Oh yeah, because they had to drag it. And dude, Conrad's wife needs to learn that you're never gonna look like Charlotte. So don't buy $25,000 worth of weave to try to look like Charlotte. We had to explain to Shell and Doc Heresy that wasn't Charlotte at ringside, that was Conrad's wife with a big ass wig to try to look like Charlotte.
Megan, I apologize for JJ Alexander's comments. What do I want to know? What Lethal's entrance was? Was it the Black Machismo entrance?
I wish. Nope. Lethal got the generic ass music that he's using in AEW now.
And I'm assuming Andrade's was the same.
And Andrade came out in the La Sombra mask.
Okay.
And all that shit.
And then Rick, we get it. You were 16-time champion. We fucking get it. You don't need to wear a belt that no longer fucking fits you.
I mean, granted, it was the original old big gold belt. You could tell by the brown leather strap, and you could see it it had the hefted weight to it because Rick could barely lift it. And then just Rick coming out and wear it like the second he comes out, you could see the shirt through the thing. I'm like, he's fucking last episode of Nitroing this. He's gonna wear a fucking shirt, and he was actually wearing two. He was wearing this you could tell he was wearing a wife beater, and then he had this fake knockoff Under Armour shirt over it, and then his tights. So nothing matched. It this and this were blue, and his boots were purple, and the robe was white. And Flair, you could tell, probably downed half a bottle of Svedka before coming through that freaking curtain. Jesus. It was bad. It's real bad.
This is water, by the way. But as I'm reading more and more about this show, I'm wishing it was a different clear liquid. So Before I even get to the finish of this match,
which happened 40 minutes later.
26, close enough. Flair not only openly admitted his plantar fasciitis issue that weekend before the show, he openly admitted he planned on drinking to numb the pain before the match.
Oh, yeah. You could tell.
What are we doing? What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing?
Flair legit passed out at least twice during the match, dude. Like, I was sitting there, we were watching it, we're like, we're going to see this old man die tonight. Like, I was like, dude, he should be like Vince Neil, Axl Rose in this shit and have a freaking oxygen tent at ringside.
Doesn't this perfectly exemplify what the fuck I've been saying for weeks?
Yep.
And don't give me the bullshit it wasn't for money. It might not have been a Ric Flair money grab, but it was a fucking money grab.
Oh, yeah.
I could argue right now, if I were Megan Flair, I'd ask for a divorce from Conrad Thompson after this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You just allowed your husband to card out your father for a pure money grab and almost kill him in the process.
Oh, and also let's mention the fact that, okay, so good on them that they moved from the Nashville Fairgrounds to a bigger venue because they sold out the Nashville Fairgrounds and they wanted to equip for more seats. So apparently once they moved to the bigger venue, they did nothing more for advertising because they didn't sell any more seats when they moved to the larger arena.
You're done fucked up.
So you had an arena that was 3 times the size of the one you had, and it was 1/3 full. You should have just stayed at the freaking Nashville Gardens.
So we get to the ending.
Oh, well, no, you can't just get to the ending. You have to see all the fuckery that happened during this match because we had to have Flair gig. We had to have Jarrett walk out during it. We had to have Jarrett come back and do the guitar shot. Because it wouldn't be a Jeff Jarrett match without the guitar shot.
Wait, I remember seeing something about this. Who did he give the guitar shot to? Was it Karen?
Well, I don't even remember because it was such a clusterfuck and we saw the guitar shot. I feel like the
guitar shot was Karen. I could be wrong.
It might have been. But I mean, Jesus. Like, I was just like, no, we don't need the guitar. Yeah, here comes the guitar shot.
I mean, you knew it was coming. Come on.
I know, but it was like, it wasn't needed. Like, this match was so overbooked.
I'm honestly shocked you didn't see it the night before, but whatever.
Yeah. But this match was just entirely overbooked. And people afterwards like, Jeff Jarrett's in amazing shape. Jeff Jarrett could still go. No! Like, Jay Lethal and Andrade had to carry that fucking match.
By the way, I'd like to thank Road Dogg and Scott Demore for producing and timing the matches, as well as Bully Ray, Daniel McDevitt, Scott Armstrong, Sin Bodhi, Tom Pritchard, and Wolfie D for aging the matches that night. So now we get to the finish. Referee's out. I think it was Mike Chioda was the signed referee. He's knocked out.
By the way, Doug Dillinger was at ringside for the entire match. Just not in anyone's corner, just there.
Just there.
Because that's
how it was in WCW. He was just there.
Every time the camera would pan, Doc Harrison would go, God damn it, Doug Dillinger.
So marks are us. Conrad Thompson.
Yep.
Passes a pair of knucks to Andrade. Well, then passes the knucks to Rick. Because you couldn't just do Conrad to Rick.
Because Rick was in the ring and half awake. That was the problem. Andrade had to go in and wake up Rick.
Rick knocks out Jarrett with the knucks. Because Chioda's out, Andrade calls for another ref, and this is your 5-second appearance you're referring to.
Yep.
Flair puts Jarrett in the figure 4 with Jarrett's shoulders pinned to the mat.
But
Although you
Flair
could
was
kind of
passed
argue
out.
Flair was, barely with a shoulder up. And
Mm-hmm.
then Dave Miller comes in from the back, counts the
Dave
pin.
Hebner.
No, I got Dave Miller.
It
Maybe
was
they
they
just
fucked up because it was Dave Hebner.
Dave's dead.
No, Earl's dead.
I thought Dave Hebner was dead.
No, Earl Hebner is dead.
Oh, well, they listed him as Dave Miller for some reason. I don't fucking know.
At least I'm almost
Um,
positive because we were just like, why the fuck is there a Hebner here? Hold on.
yeah, Dave Hebner's the dead one, dude.
Oh, so then maybe it was Earl Hebner.
Well, whatever. So the count is done. Flair and Andrade win. And then Flair is getting all these hugs from Bret Hart, Foley, Taker.
Yeah, Foley and Taker were sitting there ringside like, dude, this is fucking embarrassing. And Bret Hart wasn't even there for most of it. Bret Hart was like taking a leak. Because then, like, they come back and like, oh, Bret Hart's with them. Same thing with Michelle McCool. Michelle McCool had to like rush back in because they're like, we're doing a camera shot of your husband. You should be there. And she was like, God damn it. And fucking had to go back and sit down next to Taker.
And then fucking Tony interviews him. And then why Kid Rock's there? Fuck if I know.
Because they're in Nashville and that's where he lives now.
I know. And then they have him hold up the big gold belt to end the
Plus,
show.
Flair said in the promo, like, I'm going to go out drinking with Kid Rock tonight. Flair covered. Flair, who has gigged so much that all the confetti is sticking to him. So he looks like confetti mummy.
Are you ready for the cherry on top of this mess?
Oh, please.
So Mick Foley did an edition of his podcast for StarCast weekend for this show.
Boy.
Conrad actually pitched the idea to him for Mick Foley's last match show.
Fucking jackass.
The sick part is Mick didn't dismiss it.
Yikes. Fucking Conrad. And yeah, so here's what's the really funny thing. So, like I said, we were watching on an illegal Twitch stream.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever was running the Twitch stream decided to be a major jerk. And right after Flair's the Flair's last match pay-per-view went off the air, he started streaming Flair's retirement match against HBK from Mania 30.
That's some good trolling right there. That's some good fucking trolling. That's what I'm fucking talking about. Wow. I love it. I fucking love it. All right.
And then, of course, all the meme posters came out, like the one I sent you with Ric Flair's last match, part 2. Flair versus Nick Gage.
Yeah. I fucking can't. I really can't.
Of course, what's funny is someone took that picture, or like someone showed a picture of Flair with Nick Gage somewhere, and they were like Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels 2022 colorized.
You guys are horrible. You are so goddamn horrible. Sorry, I'm trying to find something real quick. Anyways, should we move on to AEW now?
Sure.
Still looking for something. Bear with me. So did you see the screenshots, by the way, of this video game coming out for AEW?
Oh yeah, I didn't say. I thought I sent you the some shit today.
You did, but I just wanted to see what you thought about it. That's all.
So you fucking PS2 graphics. I've been saying that for months, and I love how every basement guy be like, "It's not about the graphics; it's about the gameplay." Bullshit.
Should be about both.
Mm-hmm.
Any good gamer would say that. What I'm trying to find is the end result of. Okay, she did. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to find who won the last match of Rampage quick because it fucking went over the time limit.
Yeah.
On my DVR. All right, so couple things I want to bring up before we get into the TV from last week. Number one.
No, I changed the lower third.
Oh, I'm gonna get to it. Don't worry.
Okay.
About a few hours ago, AEW sent out a press release. Oh, that's nice. Let's go hit the back button.
Hold on, before you say it, I want to see if my prediction is true.
What is it?
So, mind you, I have no idea what this press release is, and mind you, it is Wednesday after like mid afternoon. I have not been on social media prior to going on this, but I made a prediction on Tuesday morning, maybe Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
I said that in retaliation to Raw's first hour being commercial free, that this week on Busted Open, Tony Khan would announce that Rampage would be commercial free for its first hour.
You mean Dynamite?
No, Rampage, because making Dynamite commercial free would make sense.
No, that's not the announcement.
Damn it!
AEW announces expansion of talent relations and development team.
Oh, really?
Number 1, Sanjay Dutt, promoted to Vice President of Production and Creative Coordination.
Okay.
In which he'll coordinate communication of AEW storylines between post-production and key staff to maintain content work, whatever.
He's already been doing that, but okay.
QT Marshall, promoted to VP of Show and Creative Coordination, helping manage show elements, including planning programs and storylines, character development, overseeing extras, and live event logistics.
Okay, you know something. QT is he's a hell of a hand. He's a good trainer. He is not a good booker.
Pat Buck, promoted to VP of Talent Development.
That makes sense.
He will
they use most of his students anyways.
Oversee all coaches, provide input on matches and promos, and lead the talent relations team. Tony Schiavone, promoted to senior producer and special advisor to talent. For Daniels will continue to serve as manager of talent relations. Sure. And then the final announcement, Madison Rayne will join AEW as a coach in the women's division.
You fucking have Mercedes fucking Martinez and Serena fucking Deeb under contract, and you are going to choose to have Madison Rayne be your head fucking coach of the women's division.
Yeah.
Snort some more.
Anyways, the other thing I want to touch on about the video game, by the way, it's going to be coming out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S.
It has
and Nintendo Switch.
It has a pre-order date of December 31st.
Yeah, something like that.
It's not even going to be out for Christmas. Fucking idiots.
Yep. Welcome to AEW.
Like, seriously, how long have they been developing this game now? 3 years?
Something like that.
The least you could do is try to bump back that fucking sale date by 30 days so it would be there for fucking Christmas.
You want to come talk to Aubrey Edwards about it when she comes and does a meet and greet?
No, I'd rather talk to that dude that Aubrey says she isn't.
I missed that.
The fucking the guy that runs like the AEW like fucking social media that like reports people's content is actually Aubrey Edwards.
Okay. All right.
You didn't like, dude, this has been like a big thing lately the past like month.
I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah, like to the point where like there's people who, goddamn, I keep forgetting the dude's name that she uses, but like there were people in the front row at Dynamite with like that dude's name saying blah 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 is all elite, like right in frame next to Aubrey.
That's a control job, whoever did that.
Yeah.
Number one. Here's how I want to start the Dynamite breakdown. Mox does not have to bleed every fucking match.
I could have told you that. Yes, goes to the outside and bleeds both in the first 6 minutes.
Why? Fucking why? Did he really miss it that much in WWE? Why?
It's like the dude in fucking kayfabe, dude.
I, he retains over Roosh. We all know that was going to happen.
Dude. Okay, so fucking Shivani. I don't know if it was Shivani or Sockface that said it, but they were like, Roosh hasn't been pinned in over a year. I'm like, yeah, because he was fucking injured for 10 months. And like,
Yeah,
way to just take a guy, that's 10-0 on your product, even though like only one of those matches was televised. Way to take a guy who you've been pushing on this fucking 10-week undefeated streak just to have him have a title match out of nowhere to get fucking crushed by the champion who bleeds every time for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Then members of JAS come out to cut off Mox's celebration. They cut off Judas Short. Thank you, God. Nice to know Jeff Parker has a fucking brain. Jericho demands a title rematch that he apparently never got after he lost the title initially, which was fucking what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
But the whole fucking thing that AEW stands by is you don't get a rematch when you lose the fucking title.
Ranking!
That too, but that was like their big thing was if you lose the title, you don't get an automatic rematch.
I know. Coming soon to Quake at
You
the
think
Lake.
rankings matter? Roosh got a fucking title shot. Not to mention Takeshita got a fucking title shot after being 0-70.
Coming to Quake at the Lake in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
The mistake by the Malake.
House of Black. Then you get a title. You get a title. You get a title. We're getting trios championships.
Well, I mean, we knew that was coming, and like we thought that was going to be the announcement when they announced all the Oceans of the Atlantic title.
I know.
But this just fucking certifies that fucking Twinkle Toes is going to be back on Dynamite.
Tournament's going to take place and crown the first champs at All Out. Great, outstanding.
Which means we're going to get Kenny and the fucking Bucks against fucking
Undisputed
Cole and the Cole and Red Dragon, right?
Then we get a swerve. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, back it up. That whole fucking promo segment with JAS, Anna Jay sounded like a fucking crying teenager.
This is news to you. Why?
It's not news. I was just saying it was fucking terrible. Oh, and who the fuck kept saying that they were the last fucking person in the Heart Dungeon? Was it Christian?
Jericho.
Yeah, no. Natty and Tyson Kidd were the last people to come through the fucking dungeon.
That's correct. Moving on. A swerve, bro. We got a swerve next. Starks retains the FTW title over Danhausen.
Because we knew that would happen.
Then he calls for a second opponent, and guess who comes out?
Mr. No Charisma. Mr. Nepotism.
Hook comes out, becomes the new champ. Starks is still... Oh, wait. Go ahead.
Let's take a guy like... I'm not the biggest fan of Ricky Starks, but now it explains why he was fucking high-fiving people last week, because he was getting ready for his babyface turn this week. But you take a guy who actually had some experience in the NWA before fucking coming to AEW, and you have him job to King Nepotism, who fucking has had, 5 matches?
Something stupid like that.
And can't work a fucking match. And then you do this whole thing where they show the backstage of Taz hugging his son. Fucking, his son finally has this belt that was sitting in the closet at the house they both lived in the kid's whole fucking life. But it's such a proud moment.
No, it wasn't. It was sitting on the mantle. Didn't you know that? You didn't hear
Bullshit.
Taz say that?
It was sitting in a fucking closet in an old gym bag. And fucking Hook would go and take it out of the closet and play with it. And Taz would be like, pull my shit back, you fucking kid. I hate being a fucking parent. Don't play with that. It's going to be valuable one day. I'm going to be broke and have to sell it on eBay. You leave that shit alone.
This gets better, though. So Hook wins.
Uh-huh.
They go to break
Yep.
and come back with Ricky still in the ring.
Uh-huh. But when
What the fuck
WWE
is
does
Ricky
this,
doing for 3 minutes?
sitting there pulling his pud. This is WWE does this, and it's blah blah blah. The segments take too long, but Ricky Starks just took up 3 segments.
No, they don't. WWE doesn't have wrestlers standing there pulling their pud just to fucking get on a microphone after a match. They do
I mean,
it like
sometimes
when
they
they
do.
split entrances, yes.
Well, they'll also do it like after after having been at a few live events in the past year, they'll do it where they'll have like someone come out and then they'll go to commercial break, and so the arena's blacked out and there's like promo packages going on the screen, and then boom, we're back to TV, lights back up, and they're in the ring to cut the promo.
Fucking they.
But this is a guy who just had 2 matches, and then fucking they go to commercial, and then they come back and he's still there.
So he's still there. Hobbs has suddenly appeared now too.
Yep.
And Starks getting interviewed by Tony. And then right at the very mention of Hobbs, finally in the midst of this interview, Hobbs blindsides Starks, and now Starks is a babyface.
Yep, Starks is a babyface. No more Team Taz. Hobbs will get a match with Starks and then will disappear to YouTube until his contract is out, where Tony Khan is going to lowball him and he's going to say, fuck you, and he's going to call Cody.
Sure. Then we get backstage promo from the Acclaim saying they're going to have a music video for the Gun Club on Rampage. Yay. Then we get Sammy Guevara beating Dante Martin.
The fucking trampoline kids. Like, here we go. Here's Dante Martin out to do flips and do the job for the 1,000th fucking time.
Then Daniel Garcia gets interviewed by Tony backstage to set up for his match against Danielson at the end of the night. Then we get...
back it up.
Go ahead.
Once again, reasons why JR should not be on commentary. Direct quote from JR. Sammy is 20-2 in his last 21 matches.
That math doesn't work, sir.
Math. Someone call Axiom.
Then we got Lethal, Sanjay, and Satnam Singh backstage. They're interrupted by Best Friends and Orange Cassidy, and they set up a 6-man for Rampage.
Yeah. God, that's gonna be fun. Oh, did that happen?
Yes.
Oh, damn! I want I actually kind of am morbidly curious as to how much of a train wreck that was.
Oh, please.
But
hold.
It was also during this, and that's when I noticed, and I messaged you at the time, was they were pushing Fight for the Fallen, and it was for fucking saving sharks.
Oceana, yeah.
And I was like, Fight for the Fallen is supposed to be for fucking Wounded Warrior projects.
But it's Shark Month.
And
Discovery.
I don't give a fuck. Then you don't call it Fight for the Fallen anymore, because the whole thing behind Fight for the Fallen was it was supposed to be a fundraiser for Army vets. And that was why you would fucking sell discounted tickets to Army vets for that show if they were in the area. And they would sell the t-shirts and the proceeds would go to Army vets. But now, apparently, sharks are more important than our veterans. Gee, thanks, Tony Khan. I really want to see that headline.
I don't think anybody really caught that, by the way.
Apparently not. Like, literally, like I was in a group chat and I was like, didn't this? And a friend of mine was like, I was at Fight for the Fallen last year. And yeah, it's supposed to be for fucking vets.
Then we get Jungle Boy in the ring yelling pussy.
Take away Jungle Boy's entrance music and no one would care about him.
Gets interrupted by Christian backstage, yada yada. And the Bucks are backstage. They bump into Hangman, but then Dark Order comes in, interrupts their conversation, and it's almost like they're trying to set up Hangman with the Bucks, and that's going to be eventually.
They're trying to
swerve, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a swerve because it's going to be the whole culmination of since Paige won the fucking title over Omega, because how the Bucks were like, oh, we're still kind of friends, and it's just going to be Kenny blindsiding Paige. So Paige goes to the Dark Order so that they fucking team up to go for the fucking 6-man belts. And, oh, by the way, I love how they have the Bucks go like, where do these new belts come from? When they're the fucking EVPs, that doesn't fucking work. You cannot fucking sit there and try to play fucking king of the internet marks and everybody's inside on everything and then try to fucking kayfabe people in the middle of the shit. We had no clue about these, but fuck off.
So Swerve beats Sterling and Nice in a 2-on-1 handicap match. But right afterwards, they show Josh Woods laid out Keith Lee backstage, which allows Nice to jump Swerve after the match.
I was never a fan of Mark Sterling. I was actually having this conversation with Doc Heresy because Doc's like, you talking shit about my tag partner? I'm like, dude, every time I've been in a locker room with him, he's never shaken my fucking hand. I don't care for the dude. And then it's just funny how Mark Sterling used to be in some form of shape. And now apparently because he's getting that AEW check, he has decided that being in some form of shape means that shape should be a pair.
Then we get a pre-tape from the Kings of the Black Throne.
The House of Black.
Malachi Black and Brody King. And it's a pre-tape directed at Darby and Miro. Malachi talking shit about Miro, and then Brody King decides to challenge Darby. Did you see what he challenged him into?
Another fucking coffin match. We just fucking had one of these.
Oh.
Taker would have a casket match once every fucking year, every 2 years, if that, for the span when those were a thing.
Why can't this be vodka?
Fucking Darby just had a coffin match against Andrade, what, a month ago?
A month might be a stretch, but I get your point.
Okay, maybe 2 months. It was recent, though. And there was no reason for it.
And he had one before that with Ethan Page.
Exactly!
Then we get Thunder Rosa retaining her belt over Yamashita.
Which we saw coming.
And then we end the show with Garcia making Danielson, I think, passed out. I don't think he tapped.
No, Danielson tapped.
Oh, he did tap? Okay.
Yeah, so let's break down the stupidity of this fucking match and the bad taste. Bad taste for even AEW standards. So, did you notice that during this fucking match,
they had Danielson acting concussed the whole match, yes.
And they had Danielson reenact the fucking Shawn Michaels Owen Hart segment.
Yes.
The problem is, when that whole thing happened with Shawn and Owen, when Shawn did and passed out, there was no commentary. Medical personnel came out. There was no talking for 4 minutes, and they went off the air. Because that's how it's believable. Not have him go, boom, and then have Daniel Garcia go, fuck it, and throw him headfirst into the fucking ring stairs. Go ahead.
I saw two other parts that. Number one, concussions are not a very well-known thing back in the early to mid-90s. Number two, Shawn even having concussion was like anything that might have been wrong with Shawn before that match went on the air was non-existent in the news cycle, whereas Danielson's issues have been well documented for years now.
Exactly. But yeah, so then you take it, you in poor taste reenact a segment that was like at the time was some serious fucking shit, because it was that was one of those blurred lines of kayfabe and reality where we weren't quite sure what was going on at the time. But you take that and put it in bad taste. Then you have Garcia just kick the shit out of Danielson, fucking put him head first into the stairs. Give him a DDT on the concrete, bring him back in, have him get a pile driver, and like just all this shit. And then like, of course, so you did the whole thing where like Hager fucking held Danielson's boot, so Danielson couldn't get back in the ring. So Danielson was confused, and then come in and boom. The whole thing is the ring psychology. This is why Daniel Garcia is a piece of shit and will never fucking make it any further than this fucking pond scum ridden fucking swamp that he is in. Basic of fucking ring psychology. You want to play up this concussion shit, which number one, like I said, is in bad fucking taste, but you go the whole match working the head and then you put him in a sharpshooter and have him tap out. Where does that make sense? Wouldn't it have made more sense to put him in like a guillotine and have him pass out?
Yeah.
And just having Danielson tap out, you have completely ruined any credibility Danielson has. Like you could have at least had him pass out in the sharpshooter and been like, ring the bell.
Hmm.
But no, you've got to have him fucking tap. No, you're done. There's no coming back for Danielson. He lost to fucking Jericho in the fucking garbage match, which gave him the concussion. And now you have him tap out to this fucking piece of shit kid who's never going to go anywhere. There's no point. It's
I know.
done. Danielson has no credibility anymore.
So then let's run through Rampage quick to wrap things up. They had Orange and Best Friends go over on Lethal, Sanjay, and Satnam Singh.
I mean, I'm not surprised. It's Tony Khan booking.
It was basically, let's take advantage of the 5 seconds the Giant is distracted outside the ring and get the pinfall quick before the Giant takes us all the fuck out. That's basically what the ending was. Because then after the match, Orange and Best Friends got laid the fuck out by Satnam and Jay.
Anybody want a peanut?
But then Wardlow came out and chased the three of them away.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
They're going to do Wardlow versus Satnam Singh.
Then Ethan Page beats Leon Ruff in like 30 seconds. Not even. And was talking shit. I don't know if he's really angry at the company or what, but he was talking a lot of shit in the camera when he got out of the ring.
Well, I mean, Ethan Page had been on TV since that fucking coffin match with Darby.
Then they had Cole Carter backstage. He was about to be interviewed, but then he got interrupted by the Factory. QT Marshall offers Cole Carter a spot in the Factory, and Cole turns it down. And then there was some match set up, I think. I don't remember what the fuck it was, but whatever.
It's going to be an easy win for 2 times, is what it is.
Probably. Then Moriarty beats Matt Sydal.
Because Lee Moriarty's a heel now.
And apparently is joining up with Stokely Hathaway.
Sure.
Then we get a Britt Baker pre-tape towards Thunderstorm because there's a tag match this week. I feel like we just did this tag match too, but I could be wrong.
No, you're right.
Didn't we just do Britt and Jamie? Oh, that was on Rampage. That's why.
Yeah.
So because nobody saw it, now we got to put it on the show where people actually watch it. That's right.
Yep.
Fuck me. Mm-hmm. Then we have Claudio and Yuta in the ring cutting a promo. Jericho interrupts.
Mm-hmm.
Yuta says he can beat Jericho and essentially suckers Jericho into putting his title shot against Mox in the line in a match on Dynamite this week.
Right. And so let's fast forward to Dynamite. Well, let's do a little time loop here. So one thing I forgot to mention with Daniel Garcia is you just took a guy who just did the job to Wheeler Yuta and you put him over Bryan Danielson.
Yep.
That makes no sense.
Yep.
So now you're going to have Yuta versus Jericho to try to tease. Like we're either going to get Mox versus Jericho again, which nobody wants, or for some reason out of nowhere, we're going to have stablemates go against each other. And we're going to get Yuta versus fucking Moxley part 80, which nobody wants.
Correct.
And Yuta is still the Ring of Honor pure champion. And Yuta is going to job to fucking Jericho.
Yep.
Which makes your title of this non-existent company mean nothing.
Yep.
Speaking of titles meaning nothing, now you're going to, because they announced another Battle of the Belts, Battle of the Belts 3 Saturday Night Fight, and you're going to have Claudio defend the ROH title against Takeshita, Mr. 0-90.
Yep.
Who just keeps getting title shots.
Yep.
Like, I liked this kid when I first saw him, but there's no saving this fucking kid.
Nope.
This kid is literally just, he looks good and can do stuff, but he is fucking enhancement talent.
Yep.
And he's never going to be anything more.
Yep.
And fuck rankings. Just, you can be 0 in a million as long as you put on bangers. We're going to keep putting you out there.
Can we say something? To be perfectly frank about something here?
Absolutely.
Can we just admit 95% of the talent that was ever brought over from Japan to be in AEW did nothing? The only person that really did anything was Riho?
I don't even think Riho did that much.
Well, she was a women's champion. You have to give her at least that little bit of
True,
credit.
but pretty much every woman on that roster has been women's champion at some point at this point.
I'm just saying.
I'm trying to think of the Japanese people. Yeah.
Male and female alike, especially the females.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to think of both ends of the spectrum, and
There's been a single Asian male who's won a belt, at least, well, from Japan. Like, there hasn't been a single one.
right.
The only person that came over from Japan that's won anything in the women's division has been Riho.
Mm-hmm. And we got all this shit with Will Ospreay talking shit about Kenny Omega. No one wants to see that match.
No.
No one wants to see it. I don't care.
Unless they go and do it in New Japan. Good. Yeah. Get off my TV.
And apparently FTR is going to be traveling over to Japan to defend the belts against United Empire.
Sure.
Within the next couple of weeks. So we may because obviously because we were wondering why the Bucks dropped the tag belts to Swerve and Lee because there was supposed to be that whole build towards all of the belts. But now the trios belts are coming out. So the Bucks are obviously going to book themselves to win those. So they don't need them. So now they're just going to have FTR start jobbing off their fucking tag belts everywhere to push them further down the card because God forbid FTR is more over than the Bucks.
Right.
And that's just fucking ridiculous.
One quick thing on Mox, by the way, because I mentioned. So you know how New Japan Strong had a show in Nashville on SummerSlam weekend?
Yeah.
Remember how I told you that he was facing El Desperado in I think it was a no DQ match?
Yeah.
Would you like me to show you the picture that's on the New Japan main page right now for results?
Sure.
To promote the results from that show.
Sure.
All right. So bear with me for a second as I try to upload this, but it's a doozy. It's a fucking doozy. I'm not even sure you're ready for this.
Oh, God. Of course. Of course we had to use a Kenzan. Fuck it. Why not?
Fuck me. Fuck me sideways. I know it's not the right show. Hold on. Give me a sec. But yeah, fuck me sideways.
Oh, yeah, because that was the show where that was the show at the Nashville Fairgrounds that New Japan moved into, and they mentioned bangers on the show, but it was 100 people.
Yes. So remember that music video I told you about from the Acclaim that was teased on Dynamite for Rampage?
Yeah.
Well, it was basically a music video where they basically called the Ass Boys the Trash Boys, and they challenged them to a dumpster match for.
That's right. I heard about the dumpster match because it's Billy Gunn's kids. So Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws, were in that dumpster match that one time after Mania 14.
It was at Mania 14.
And then that's right. They had it at Mania 14, but then
the night after Mania 14 was a steel cage match in Albany, New York.
Right. That's
where after one night of being champions, Cactus and Terry Funk dropped the belts back to the Outlaws.
Even though there was no finish in that match, but the Outlaws walked out with the belts.
Right, because Pac and fucking Hunter got involved, and that's how
that was the revitalized DX. Yeah. Yes.
Yep, that was in Albany. That was the night after the Boston Mania. Yep.
So let's WWF Attitude Era. We're gonna dip in and try to steal as much as we can before Hunter rehashes it, because Hunter. And here's what's funny is they announced this dumpster match 2 weeks after, during the feud between fucking Great White Khali and Solo Sikoa, Robert Stone got thrown in the fucking dumpster.
Yeah. He was also thrown in the dumpster again during their Falls Count Anywhere match last night.
No, Solo got thrown in the dumpster in the Falls Count Anywhere.
Okay.
And then Solo did the Jack in the Box. Surprise, motherfucker.
Right. Yeah.
It's nice to know that WWE has their own dumpster company.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, actually. I didn't even think about that.
I was like, you could tell they just took a logo and taped it over the whatever company they get their dumpsters through.
So Would you like to guess what the main event was for Rampage that I didn't see the finish of because they didn't finish this fucking show on time?
Oh God, oh God. Oh jeez. It wasn't the 6-man, so I have no clue.
I didn't get to see Anna Jay make Ruby Soho tap out.
Jesus fuck.
Tear. Fucking tear.
Remember when Ruby Soho was going to be the game changer for the women's division?
Yeah, not so much.
She's tapping out to fucking Anna Jay.
One
The
more
girl
note
who was the third banana in the fucking Dark Order.
One more thing I want to mention. Guess who made their AEW debut on Dark this week?
Who now?
I'll give you a hint. Somebody who had a sudden departure from NXT and then got signed almost immediately by Tony Khan.
Well, I mean, we already know that Parker Boudreaux is there. We already know that fucking Two Dimes
Stop.
is there.
You already said it.
Well, we mentioned that last week.
So I watched this
Oh, God.
clip of his final minute of the match.
Oh, God. There's a reason why he got fired.
Yeah.
He's bad.
Yeah. And he still has a lot of baby fat on him. Or maybe it's just fat, period. I don't know what it is.
I feel like he when he got signed by WWE, he kind of stopped working out as much.
Shocker.
And that's also why they had him doing the Harlan gimmick with the full fucking clothing and had him like be Gacy's backup. They're like, you need to get in better fucking shape.
Jeez, you're pudgy. Put this on.
Right. And then he decided, no, because I'm already here and I've already got this bug in my ear that I'm the next Brock Lesnar, so I don't have to do shit. And that's not how this works, kid.
No, it doesn't.
Like, no, you were way more Ludwig Borga than you were Brock Lesnar.
Ludwig Borga. Oh, that's funny.
I never sent you that meme when he first got signed, Ludwig Braka.
Oh, you said the name.
Yeah.
Oh, God Almighty. Anything else?
Just a what do you call it? I know I mentioned it to you off air, but yeah, so Dynamite tonight is in Columbus, Ohio. It's their first time in Columbus. They cut the arena, of course, they cut the arena in half. So 6,000 seats available 6,000 seat capacity. There's still about 1,200 tickets available through regular through regular fucking box office, and at least another 1,000 available through resellers.
Sweet. So we're looking at like a 60% full arena right now.
Yeah. Like, and that's what, like, they were in Worcester last week, and that was the same thing.
I can't give it 2 thumbs up. I'll give it the Orange Cassidy 2 thumbs.
But yeah, it's so I like going back to the whole if AEW could fill a stadium. No, they have no way to fill a stadium. There is no possible way. And once again, I would like to point out that if you really would, if all these people really think that that was an option, it's Tony Khan has a football stadium that doesn't get used for 12 months out of the year because his team sucks balls.
That's nice. That's real fucking nice. Wow. Fucking wow.
But I mean, still, like, he has his own fucking football stadium. He could put on an AEW fucking stadium show at any given time he wanted. He won't, because he knows that it would be an embarrassment. It would be like one of those fucking, like, one of those final, like, super clashes. Like, that's how bad it would be. Like, I'd actually like it. I want to see him try. I would love to fucking see him try. I want to see him go. I want to see him go full fucking UWF Coke binge and try to run
that's fucked.
Stadium show.
Well, that's fucked.
Just lose his shit. Come out, fucking broccoli haired looking motherfucker. Fucking shirt half open with fucking dust on his nose. Be like, every belt goes on CM Punk.
Wow, dude. Jesus.
Dude, like I'm gonna laugh my
Ugh.
fucking balls off when Sasha and Naomi show back up on fucking TV, and everything CM Punk says is just right out the window. Guess what, CM Punk? You're the biggest fucking mark. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. You see that one picture of him, like the use for the TBS commercial or whatever, with him and fucking Jade and Darby and shit, all like sitting, like watching TV on the couch, and the
Mhm.
look on his face is just like, kill me.
Right.
Like, you signed up for this, motherfucker. This is your own goddamn fault. You the one that broke your goddamn foot stage diving into the goddamn crowd. You fucking deserve everything that happens to you.
Yeah.
And so, like, what even is on the fucking schedule for this week at fucking Dynamite besides Yuta versus fucking Jericho? Like,
Damn.
didn't they announce some other shit? I don't remember.
Fantastic question. I'm glad you asked.
I mean, because it is Wednesday, so Tony Khan has announced fucking 9/10 of the card because he doesn't know how to just hold back and let people wonder what's going to happen.
We're also gonna have Orange Cassidy against Jay Lethal.
Oh yeah, Lethal gets to do the job
Apparently Mox is gonna have a promo segment.
where he's gonna
We
bleed.
Adam Cole returned. Adam
That's
Cole
right,
and
Red
Red Dragon
Dragon.
returned.
Yeah,
Matt Hardy 1-on-1 against Christian Cage.
Christian gets the win.
The dumpster match.
Yeah, that's right.
Thunderstorm against Britt Baker and JB Hater. Excuse me.
Baker and Hater.
And Powerhouse Hobbs, I think, is going to be against a jobber.
Squash
It
match.
sounds like,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it looks like tonight.
Because now we're gonna get the mini push of Powerhouse Hobbs and be like, you know something? No, we're done with him. It was like they did, like it's hilarious because like that was one of the things with the Ricky Starks promo about like he's like blah 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 blah, it's my time, yada yada, blah blah. I don't get it. Like, and they have like Powerhouse Hobbs just standing there. It's like, dude, Hobbs was the one that was in the fucking ladder match for the TNT title, not Ricky Starks. And then they were both in tag title matches together. Like, you can't be like, oh, blah, blah, I didn't get any shots. Like, it's Tony Khan not knowing how to fucking write stories.
I know.
Because he depends on the marks to fucking connect all these dots that aren't there to try to make sense. So then he can retweet it. Yeah. I'm going to write a mean tweet. And then me and my friend Mark are going to stop watching.
Way to bring the show full circle. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Real quick before we get out of here, just want to remind you that the Albany Empire, they are playing for the National Arena League Championship at home at MVP Arena in downtown Albany next Saturday, August the 13th.
Nice.
They're going to be hosting the Carolina Cobras. Kickoff set for 7 p.m. If you want to be part of the championship action as the Empire go for their second league championship, check out AlbanyEmpireNAL.com or call the box office at 518-714-2200, extension 101. That all being said, closing time. It's we're done. We're done. We're done. We're done. I'm getting hot. I'm getting flustered. I'm verklempt. I don't know what other word to use. Yeah, I'm Brian. That's JJ. Twitter, I'm at Brian Cady. He's at JJ_Alexander. Any questions, complaints, gripes, or if you're Megan Flair who took offense to what JJ said about you.
Dude, that weave was fucking awful. I'm sorry.
Brian.Cady at GodzillaMedia.com. This has been episode 61
Megan, of forgot your weave.
Presented by Godzilla Media. Sponsored by our friends at Johnstone Supply, Mohawk Honda, and the Albany Empire. Oh, for fuck's sake, get me out of here. JJ, say goodbye.
Goodbye.